Self Revelations. It's your boy B-Dab.
And I am Juan Moreno.
Welcome back to the most organic podcast in the world. My boy Wanavelli. How you feeling, man?
Nah, man, I'm doing good. Just working through some challenges, trying to work on like patience and trying to like not judge people while they're on their journeys, especially like the people that are closest to you. I think that's like the hardest part. Like for me, like where I work, I have to manage like a lot of people. So for some reason, it's easier for me to talk to them and to delegate and be soft spoken because I know how people get with their emotions than it is with like my own family or the people that I genuinely have more emotions attached to. Like it's more harder for me to speak softly to them with my advice or maybe my experience or words of encouragement because I hate seeing like family and friends suffer, especially with something that you don't have to, like something that maybe I've worked through or other people have worked through, and not seeing somebody like, take initiative, like be proactive. Like if you have a problem, you go handle it. You go deal with it now. You don't put it off until tomorrow. You deal with it right now. Like that's the way I'm wired. So if I have something like's wrong with me or a thought, a relationship or something that I'm working through with my career or trying to better myself, if I feel that something needs to be done, I do it. Like, and I get obsessive over something like that. Like I research, I watch videos, I talk to people, I read books, and I make moves like right now. So when I see like my closest people to me don't like that, I think I'm too emotionally attached to it because it bothers me and I can't seem to like let it go sometimes. So I have to like sometimes I have to just I literally tell myself shut the fuck up, like don't say nothing, just let them vent and just don't say nothing. And then time, it takes me like a few days to like let it go and like okay, they're their own person, they'll figure it out. I gotta focus on me though. But that's the problem though, like sometimes it seems like I'm being so selfish, but it's like, well, if you're not gonna work on yourself, like I'm gonna focus on me then. Like I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to do this, but if you're not willing to do nothing about it, then I'm wasting my time. So sometimes I have to do like what seems to be selfish, but it's more of like, you know what, when you need help, I'll be right here though. But in the meantime, I gotta keep doing what I gotta do, like in order for myself to be sane and for my purpose, or else I could look at somebody as a distraction that means the world to me, and I will up and leave. I've done it a few times, so I have no problem doing it. But I have to remind myself, just be patient.
Yeah, because all that can derail you from where you're trying to go. And I know exactly how you feel with being too emotionally attached to like a situation or something that's going on within the family. When I moved to Modesto the first time, it was a lot of things like that going on with my family, or like people in my family not being cool. And then like I'm over here worried about it and I'm stressed and I'm trying to give advice and stuff like that. And now I'm bothered by it. And then 2 days later, everything goes back to normal. But I'm still bothered by the situation that was already presented to me. So now it's interrupting me and basically affecting my inner peace. You know what I'm saying? All from something that they could have resolved on their own. You know what I mean? So it's good to be like how you are, wanting to help solve the problems, like, or if someone's hurting, trying to, help them get right. But, you gotta, at the same time, you gotta put your purpose and basically your peace before everybody at the same time. Because if you're messed up mentally, or if you're struggling or you're depressed, you can't help nobody. You know what I mean? It's because like we talked about last episode, you hold a lot of weight in your family. And, I hold a lot of weight in my family. You know what I mean? We have that leadership role in our families, whether we like it or not. So you got to know that these type of things that are going on within, your family or whatever, if it's going to derail you, take a step back and actually look at the whole situation. Is this a situation where I actually need to intervene? I need to like get into it right now? Or is this something like, okay, it's not that serious and I'm going to shoot you advice, but I'm not going to get emotionally attached to it to where I'm bothered about it and you guys are like happy and jumping around the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it just all depends on the situation, obviously the severity of the situation, but that's that's kind of like what I went through with, my nieces and nephews and my siblings and stuff like that. And, at the end of the day, like these situations, as long as it's not something where someone's obviously being harmed or anything like that, people fighting and stuff like that, physically fighting, because people are going to argue, brothers and sisters are going to argue, nieces and nephews are going to argue. You're going to get into, everyone's not going to be just getting along 24/7. You know what I mean? But everything doesn't have to be like to where it affects you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the one thing too. I have to because I'm like all in or all out. Like my emotions are involved, or the way I, my intentions are like so pure, like genuine. Like I try my best to not say things that I don't mean, but I would say like 99% of the time, like I really mean the things that I say. And like there's a lot of power in like every word that I try to like implement my intentions to try to help somebody. And sometimes like I always talk about it, like you can't help a drug addict if they don't want to help themselves. And to me, it's like I embraced like this leadership role. Like I put myself here, and like I want to be a leader. I don't want to be a follower. I don't want to just follow where the world pushes me. Like I want to set my intentions and like create my life. So I want to help the people around me, influence. And I also have to take a step back though, and like make sure I'm always taking care of myself, especially when I need to. I know that like that signal in my head, like, hey, you gotta take a step back. Like you need to go on a walk, or go on a run, or go do something by yourself, or go hang out opposite from the people that you've been around, like to then get a new perspective. Because sometimes it's just like a perspective thing too, and being impatient and you're rushing results and you're rushing someone else's journey. When it took you, like that's what I'm saying. I never had nobody rush my journey because I didn't really put my stuff out there for somebody to do that for me. So like I had to figure it out by myself. Like, hey, you need to work on this. Like things came naturally, even though maybe certain things took like a year or two, a relationship or two, for me to figure out some of the things I need to work on. But I never had nobody rush me. So like now I'm in the role where I'm trying to help somebody and be this like light and try to embrace this leadership role, because I naturally always felt like that when I was a kid, but I was just scared to maybe embrace it. But now I'm fully locked in. So me is like I'm just trying to influence people by my actions and then with my words, and also back it up because they see me doing it every day. But I can't lie and say it's not frustrating when somebody's not helping themselves. Like it bothers me.
Yeah. And has it been a situation to where like say something in your family, you don't have to talk about the situation, but something in your family like completely like threw you off, derailed you, whether if it's like an event that happened in your family or stuff that's going on, it's like a lot of tension or anything like that, to where it was like at the time like you're trying to address it, trying to help everybody, but then it clicks in your head, you're like, oh shit, like this is fucking up me and my peace and what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Has there been a lot of situations like that in your family or no?
Yeah, for sure. Almost every time. Like almost every time something's going on, because I really want to help, so I always try to throw these like little gems in there, because a lot of things are very, very simple. But we just complicate shit, like either when it comes to going to go do something that you might not want to do but will benefit you, but you're so comfortable in this little spot that you're in that you don't want to seek out, but yet you want to complain about everything and saying how you want to change, you want this, but yet you're still doing the same thing. So I would like hear that and see that, and I would have to take a step back and within myself and be like, you know what, like they'll figure it out. I have to let this go. However this goes with them, even if it's a good thing or a bad thing, the worst of the worst, I have to let it go. Like I can't do much. Like I can only, set my intentions for that person, try to help and guide them, try to be an example and show them there's a way out. But that's all I can do. Like I can't control them. And sometimes it takes for me to go through that thought process to realize you can only control yourself, and you have to let go, and you have to move on. But it's hard, especially with your family, or maybe it might be your boyfriend, it might be your girlfriend, like, or your wife or something, your husband, something very close to you. The emotions are like higher, like like the way I like if you were having problems, whatever, like I would have more of a purpose of trying to help because I talk to you more often, or I'm around you more often than it was a stranger that I meet in line to get Jamba Juice, and he's telling me his problems. Like, I will like easily spit game and then not see him ever again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's easier for me to do that than it is somebody who I'm going to see again, and then seeing them still suffering. Like, I hate. Like, everybody has a test that they're going through every day or in their life, whether they're trying to get over being an introvert, or they want to be more confident, or they're working through a trauma. Everybody's getting tested. Everybody is suffering with something. Not everyone. Either you're suffering because you're trying to be successful, or you're suffering because where you're at in life and your perspective. And my thing is, sometimes I have to let go and let them realize. I have to put the ball in their hands. Sometimes I have to remind myself, like, I have to have them realize that they need to make a change, not them make a change for me. Like, no, make a change for yourself. Like, if you don't feel good right now at this weight, then cut weight. If you don't feel happy working this job, then quit the job. Like, or maybe it's a perspective thing. It's an environment. Like, always try to push it towards them that, hey, like, maybe you feel like this because of this. Maybe it could be that. Maybe you shouldn't take this food or eat this, or maybe you should not think that way. Maybe you should simplify it. But even then, they might not, see it. And I have to realize, like, they're on their own journey, and I have to let go.
Exactly. Because you can lead them to water, but you can't force them to drink. Like, all the knowledge and all the game that you're giving out, they're not willing to take it, and they want to go have their own experiences. You got to let them. Like, obviously, you don't want anybody to go and crash out, but, like you said, like, they have to go have those experiences. The most I've ever grown was from having experiences and fucking up, to be honest. Like, I learned the most when I mess up, and not making those same mistakes is what makes me better. You know what I mean? Regardless of what situation is. It can be any situation. When I mess up, that's when it clicks in my head, like, oh, okay, this won't happen again. I don't make the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a part of the journey. That's a part of the grind. That's a part of, like, this thing we call life. You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to be perfect. Not everyone's going to go through unflawed. Some people have more help than others. Some people don't have help. Some people learn from their own mistakes. Some people learn from other people's mistakes, like we've talked about before. But I feel like me personally, when I experience stuff on my own, because you could tell me a million times, oh, this is bad for you. Oh, you shouldn't do this. Or the odds of you playing professional is slim to none. Or hey, you shouldn't play football because you'll get injured. All the fears that people have put on me, hey, I'm going to find out on my own. You know what I mean? Regardless of what I want to do, I'm going to find out if I can or not.
Right. Damn, that's like a harsh reality and like a harsh reminder too. It's like you can't control everything. That's like the hardest thing for me to realize is like, because you try to influence and you try to like move things and manipulate things in a good way. But sometimes, like, a lot of things are in God's time or in the time of reality or people's journey. And I have to remind myself, like, we're all in our own, like, human experience, like, spiritual form and human body, that, like, people are going to learn the easy way, the hard way, or however. And sometimes you have to take a step back and let them, like, figure it out on themselves. But it's easier said than done for me, for sure.
Facts. But out of everything that you've been through, I know, we've talked about plenty of times that, you staying on your grind, staying on your journey has been real important. What about keeping your peace, keeping your inner peace? And I know, this applies to even if it's relationships, whatever it may be, jobs, keeping your inner peace. How important is that to you?
That's automatic. I think I always know too if it gets out of line. Like, I always feel like, you know what? I know that something is off, or maybe I might not realize it actually immediately. Sometimes it'll be a couple months. Like, wait, hold on. You were like a few months ago, you had this in your notes that you wanted to do this, pursue this. And right now you're doing this right now. This doesn't really align with what you were trying to do just a few months ago. Like, did your goals change, or did you put yourself somewhere else, or did things distract you and emotions got too much in the way? And there's a lot of times, it's a good thing you said that, because I realized that like a few weeks ago, like after Selena's accident, like we went through like a hiatus. Like, we got into more debt, like because we couldn't pay the bills. I couldn't work at that time. I was at a new job. Didn't have FMLA, like, which is great assistance for people that go through like paid family leave. You have to take care of a sick one or something, or like a problem that happens to your spouse or somebody who's like a family member. So like they did assist with that, and they did pay me, but they could only pay me for like a few weeks, and I didn't work for almost a few months. So I had to try to use my, thank God, leverage like my credit and stuff like that, but I still put myself in debt. I still got to pay that money back. And the percentage of credit cards, like 21 to 25%. So like right now, when it comes to going through something like traumatic, or 20 steps back from where you were at before that situation happened, you're so focused on like trying to survival mode. So I'm like, I got to make sure the bills are getting paid. I got to make sure the person is doing good. I got to make sure, oh shit, are you doing good? Like I had to like, oh wait, what about you? So sometimes you get so focused on like everything outside, making sure everything is okay and sane, that I'll forget about myself. And this happened in November, the accident, and we're in May. Yeah, we're in May, so it's been a few months, and now I've like starting to slowly get back to the grind again, like tapping in back to my leadership. Like for me, my biggest thing that was helping me excel, like growth wise, and like I became obsessed with, was becoming a better leader. Like a good example, articulating myself well, having that like bravado, like being able to speak and not fear no one, physical or words, like be able to stand up for myself and speak in a way that's influential instead of just causing destruction and stuff like that. So there's a lot of times where sometimes you'll forget that you're off track, and good thing that I could always get back into it. So I wish I could realize it like sooner, but sometimes you're in survival mode, like you're trying just to make sure things are aligned and everything is copacetic, and you're just trying to stay afloat, that sometimes you forget like you're still drowning, like your head's above the water, but you're still drowning. Like, so it's like, oh damn, like I take care of myself. And that's why I do a lot of like random things like that people would never do, like either doing jiu-jitsu for a few months, and then doing yoga, doing something. That's always been my thing, is like once I know I'm off track, I have to change a pattern. So I have to do something completely different. And like right now I'm doing calisthenics, like tough. So I've been doing it every single day ever since we had that conversation on the phone, when you were saying, oh, you need to pull up bar. Like it's like maybe a month ago now, or maybe a few weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks. But ever since then, every single day I do at least like 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, like in different variations of all of those things too. And to shake my system again, like to bring myself back to maybe where I forgot.
So would you say your foundation of you keeping your peace is obviously, the physical fitness, honing in on taking care of you, your leadership qualities, being able to motivate and inspire people, whether if it's your family or friends or at work, and honing in on, hey, like how your body feels, how your mental is, and like that right there is your layout and your foundation.
Yeah, because you have to remember too, like you come first, like your peace. You have to be content with life, or else you're gonna be distracted, or you're gonna stray away from who you want to be. I think people forget that too. It's like, who do you want to be? Like, if you can't tell me who you want to be, I think that's something you should look into. Like, you should, like, who do you want to be? Like, when you ask me, I want to be somebody who is a light. I want to be somebody that's inspirational, influential, but at the same time is an example of it. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to be about it. Like, I want to be doing all the things that people look at it like, how is he doing that? How is he managing all that? How is he able to do this and that and still have a good rapport with his family and friends and family? I said that twice. But like, how are you able to do all the things that look like work? To me, feels like play. Like, so that's my thing, is like, your foundation is who you are, who you want to be, and being at peace with what's going around you. And that's the most important thing to have, or else you're going to be, moving in a way that's against you.
Yeah, facts. And for, the people out there that haven't had that sit down with themselves, like say they're always around people. You want to find out, what kind of person you are, who you want to be, get in a room by yourself, take an hour or two, get a notebook, a pen, and write it down. I like in the parts of my life where I had to grow the most is when I had to sit back and actually look at my own sins and the stuff that I like been through or other stuff that I have to work on, wrote it down and honed in on focusing on working on me. You know what I'm saying? In every situation, whether if I was on whatever spectrum I was on, it was like, okay, what could I have done better in this situation? It's a form of taking accountability, yes. But at the same time, you're like, okay, this is where I can improve. This is where I can be better. And at the end of the day, no matter what, you pointing the finger, oh, this person did this person did this. Oh, in this situation, this is why I wasn't successful. No, look at the situation for yourself. Like, okay, this is why I wasn't successful. If I would have done this better, maybe this would have changed the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So if you have to sit down for yourself, find out, what do you want to be in the next 5 years? What do you want to do? What do you want to pursue? Like, what do you enjoy? Write down the stuff that you enjoy. If you don't know what can keep you level-headed and you don't know what your piece is, like, explore things. Look into physical fitness. Look into reading. Look into, going on hikes or whatever it may be. Your thing might be video games or I don't know, spending time with your family. But find that something that's going to keep you, at a steady pace to where you could still be the best version of yourself as possible.
Bro, one of the things that I'm sure you could definitely relate to, which I for some reason barely noticed while these like last 2 weeks, was doing the calisthenics made me just realize while doing them that the feeling that you feel, how alive you are when you're like working with your body weight or working with weight, like making like your core is intact and like you're doing like the push-up. Like what's funny, I've been doing push-ups, like sit-ups, like I've done it obviously since I was like a young age too, but for some reason like now I tapped into something more. Like usually I'll do pull-ups with like my arms, like I would like lift myself and come on, almost like launch myself, and then like for some naturally I was like, let me do it with my whole body, like tense, like not tense but strengthening my core, like putting everything's flexing while I'm doing it. And I was like, damn, like you really want to feel alive, you do a push-up and put your whole every muscle working to it. It's kind of like when you do a plank, people like do planks a lot wrong. Like people aren't putting every muscle's not working,
core is not engaged, their hips are down, their back is rounded, it's not an actual plank, and it's a lot of things that are like with lifts that are like that where people would do it wrong or have the wrong form or wrong posture, and it takes a lot out of it.
Yeah, so that's one thing I learned too, is like you want to feel alive, like do a workout and put your whole body into it. Like if you're bored or you're tired or you're depressed or sad, I don't know, for some reason, bro, doing this, nothing has made me feel more alive than working with my body weight. Like I don't know, something just tapped in with me mentally, like oof, like just a feeling of every single muscle working, and then me like doing the movement made me feel more at ease with myself. Like if I'm tired, if I'm feeling kind of off, I do like a quick little 10 pull-ups, and I feel amazing. I'm like, oh, I realize I have power. Like I have like control of my body. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about like physical like activity and like working out.
Yeah, facts. It's, man, I can't explain how much working out and physical fitness has helped me, bro. Like just for like not even for like the looks, but just for the mental, bro. Like it's just it does so much for me, bro. Like I can get terrible news, and no matter what I'm doing, like if I can go to the gym, blow off some steam, get in the sauna, get in the steam room, meditate, even in either one of those, meditate. I can go out, that can keep me level-headed, regardless of what information I'm getting from, stuff that me and my family is going through, or stuff that's happening, you know, it's just like it's a super stress reliever for me, bro. It keeps me grounded.
Man, if you were to come up with like a phrase, like what's a phrase or like an affirmation that keeps you at ease, or maybe if you're going through like troubled thoughts of whatever it is, do you have a phrase or maybe a thought that comes to mind that keeps you like relaxed? Like, okay, like when you say these words to yourself, you're like, okay.
The main thing I just say to myself: stay on the grind. Everyone messes up. You know, the grind continues. Like the marathon continues, and whatever I'm doing, you know, I try not to. I'm really hard on myself when it comes to like things about myself, like whether it's stuff I'm working on that I'm already corrected and I have to check, or if it's like, say I mess up in the game, like I'm watching and critical on myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm already mad enough at myself that I made a mistake. Like I can go back and check that, and you know I won't make the same mistake twice. You know what I'm saying? So the main things that I just say to myself, like everybody messes up. Stay on your grind. You know, hard work pays off, and the marathon continues.
Man, when I think about it, I'm like literally my biggest critique. Like there's nothing, when you really think about it, I think people don't tap into it. It's like you have said the worst things to yourself than anybody else. Like nobody has like spoke to me in a way that like I did. Like God, I would fight myself if I could. Like I'll be thinking about it. I'm like, something I remind myself too, especially at my work too. You know, not all the time, but there's a few bad apples that are just unhappy. Anybody who's unhappy are the type of people that leave comments, like negative comments on a page, or always has something pessimistic to say. And sometimes I have to like check myself, because somebody would say something that might gaslight me or try to set me up to like respond. And I think to myself, like, you gonna let this so-and-so say something to you and trigger you, when the only person that really can critique and judge you is yourself. So it's like, I've said like so much. I don't know, man. It's like there's so many ways you could use like motivation, and like I have some toxic motivation. Like I think mostly when I physically work out, if I'm doing cardio, if I'm like working out, doing like a last rep, but I want to make sure that rep is solid or something, I'm like talking to myself the most like negative way, disrespectful like call myself every single bad word in the book, and judge myself like, now you're gonna, but I don't know, like, there's a lot of greatness that comes from that too though. Like, because it's not like I walk away with that all day. It's more like, to get through something, I have to like, put myself in a way of like, you can't give up. Like, no, fuck that. Like, if you give up, I would tell myself this. Like, I remember if I'm doing like a last rep, or if I'm running one more mile, it's like you have to keep running, because if you stop, your family's gonna die. Like, I'd be talking to myself crazy. Like, if you stop right here because you're tired, like your family's gonna get slaughtered in front of you. And I would just keep on I just keep on going, like, you're not quitting. Like, how do you feel about that some people like to say like toxic masculinity, or they try to say like a toxic mindset of a motivation? Like, do you think there's benefits with that?
No, there's definitely benefits when it comes to that, because I know with myself, like I'll talk to myself like when I'm lifting or working out or in a game. Like, I'll talk to myself like you said, getting on that last rep. But I don't talk to myself how you talk to myself. I cuss at myself. I'll be like, I'll be telling myself like, oh yeah, you're a bad motherfucker, you better hit this, don't be a bitch. Like, I'll be like, bro, I'll be really getting on my own head about stuff. But no, like I know that has a lot of benefits to it. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of situations where I was hitting like a brick wall. Like, I couldn't get past a certain weight, or I couldn't do something because of my physical limitations, or maybe it was something like I had to do, and I had to talk myself into finishing it or doing it, whether if it was like stuff with school or anything like that, or conditioning or anything of that nature. But talking to myself to get through it always helps me, bro. It always pushes me to that next level, because then it's just like, oh, when you actually do it, you're like, damn, that first voice, that tells me, oh, like you're good, you did enough work, like you're fine, like you can stop training now. Yeah, you did enough reps. You don't need to do an extra set. Or actually, you could just walk out right now and go to McDonald's and go back home. Like nobody's watching you. You know what I'm saying? Like that voice is the voice you want to ignore. You want to that toxic voice, the toxic masculinity or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
That voice that's telling you don't be a bitch, finish is the one you need to listen to. You know what I mean? Because that's gonna keep pushing you. Like I'm sure there's voices with you that it's just like when you're at work and you're like, man, like I wish I could go home and lay down. But I know there's another voice like, bro, keep pushing, get your money, get your bag, keep going, you know. And I think that voice, in my personal opinion, I think that voice can push us to the next limit.
Bro, every day that I wake up, I'm struggling. Like I wake up at 2:30 in the morning and I start work at 5 a.m. But I wake up early to like try to prime myself, get myself ready, you know, either take a shower, even do some sit-ups, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, drink my water, take my supplements to try to prime myself. But every time, bro, that alarm goes off, there's always that thought in my head is, just shut it off. Like, put my career on hold. You don't really need this job. Like, why are you doing this? Like, I have all these thoughts in my head. For the first 3 seconds, I only allow it. I wake up, and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to work. Like, fuck this. And then you're like, nope. And I just get up. Like, as soon as I, like, know, like, I got to, like, I'm the person, I'm saying I'm all in or all out. So, like, as soon as I wake up, I'll, like, have a taste of that thought. And then 3 seconds, 5 seconds go by, I just start going with emotions. Like, get up,
that
move.
wimpy voice.
Yeah, that wimpy voice.
You're ignoring that wimpy voice. That's to say it nicely.
Yeah,
the wimpy
exactly.
voice.
Wimpy voice. Quit. Go ahead. Just lay down. You deserve it. A few more minutes. Snooze. I don't fucking snooze. I don't fucking snooze at all no more. I used to always do that. I'll put an alarm at 2:30, not wake up until like 3:45. But I'm snoozing like
every 15
minutes, every 5 minutes. I stopped doing that because you end up getting more tired. Like if you wake up initially, your body wakes up, or that first alarm wakes up, and you go back to sleep again, and you wake up 15 minutes later, you end up being way more tired if you would have just woke up the first time.
Yeah.
And you know what's that's another thing I wanted to add too, was when it comes to growth, I realized, and this is what really helped me with my discipline. This is the reason why I do a lot of things that people seem like complicated or it's so hard, like some of the things that I do. And it'll be the littlest things, bro. Like going for a walk seems like impossible to a lot of people. I drink a gallon of water every day, and people say I can't even drink a glass, and they'll be like, how the hell do you do that? Oh, but I don't. Like, I would say 99% of the people I know don't drink water like that. Nobody. If you really when you really start asking, well, you're in more an athletic field, but even then you might meet athletes that don't drink water like that.
Yeah,
they'll drink sodas or Gatorades only, but you'll be surprised at how many people don't even drink a lot of water. I encourage people to only drink. You should drink a gallon throughout the day, not like because too much of anything can kill you. There's people who've died by doing water contests. Like, so you want to drink water when you're thirsty. You should only drink juice when you want juice, not when you're thirsty. When you're thirsty, you should always be water. When you want something to drink to like, a luxury, then you drink juice, like or alcohol or whatever the hell you want, but not when you're thirsty. But when it comes to growth, when it comes to when it really matters, it's good. It's easy to go run a mile, do push-ups, go to the gym and eat healthy when you feel good. But when you feel not good and when you're suffering and when you have that voice in your head telling you not to do this, when you don't want to do something, that's when I learned, like, that's when you really got to fucking do it. Like, when you don't want to do it, that's when you really got to do it.
And that's why we have to be disciplined in what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We have to have that foundation of why we're doing it, our purpose, and we got to be disciplined in what we're doing. Because like you said, we're not always going to feel good about doing it. Whether whatever you're doing it, for health purposes, or you're doing it to be an example for the generations after you. You obviously don't want to be telling them to be healthy, and you yourself, you're obese, overweight, not taking care of yourself. You know what I mean? Whatever reason you have for doing it, you need to lock into that and focus on regardless of what that wimpy voice is gonna tell you, or how you're gonna feel that next morning, you're gonna go to that workout. You're gonna go to work. You're gonna do these things because there's gonna be a point in your life where maybe you are in a job to where you have to work this to pay your bills for your house, or you have to work that job to support your dreams, for the next 5 years or something like that. You can't just, quit anytime stuff gets hard, or press the snooze button, so to speak, anytime you don't feel like doing something. You have to have that discipline instilled in you.
I remember, I think it was Mike Tyson, maybe somebody else. I feel like every idea, everything that's being spoken now has already been said. Like, nothing is an original idea from anyone. It's so hard to, like, everything that I've learned comes from somebody else, like from a higher purpose or God or a philosopher have said some of the things. But I remember it was something like, oh, discipline is doing something that you don't want to do and doing it like you love it. Like, doing it because of the purpose that, what it's going to take you and where this is going to go. Like, for me, I haven't meditated in a few months. For some reason, I haven't felt the urge to it. And when I say meditating, I mean meditating like, with my eyes closed. Yeah. I've been practicing meditating like with my eyes open. So just being in the moment, like driving, looking straight up. Like, I literally be practicing. Like, I literally do that though. That's why I love driving. That's why I'm driving to Vegas. Cause
you bet not be daydreaming and driving, bro. Don't be daydreaming and driving, bro.
Jesus, take the wheel. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. bro, nah, bro. No, but I just try to just enjoy the moment. Like, if I'm, especially on walks, that's what I love to do. Even though I should do that more often, but like going on walks, just looking at the trees, like the leaves moving, the wind blowing, like the squirrels like going all over the place. Like, I try to meditate in those times. It's like, you shouldn't only be at peace when you meditate with your eyes closed in like a comfortable environment. You should be doing that in every environment when your eyes are open. I remember I heard that in the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. was saying, not Jr., Jose Miguel, I think Jose Ruiz was talking about how he would meditate in his room for like 8 hours, 12 hours, like every day. And his dad, the author, Don Miguel Ruiz, he like would knock on the door. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm meditating for clarity and peace and, trying to reach this high and enlightenment. He's like, how come you don't do it with your eyes open? He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you should be meditating with your eyes open as well. Like, you gotta be in the present, be in the moment every day that you're breathing. I don't know, for some reason it clicked when I heard that, and I was like, because I would always, sometimes be even upset with myself if I don't meditate. I'm telling you, I'm my biggest critique, like, so, because I'm always trying to do process improvement within myself, trying to make myself better. That's just how I've operated the last, almost a decade now. Especially after high school is when I really started like realizing like, oh, all the power's in my hands. Like, I get to like, choose and do things and implement and to try to put myself in the best position to grow, to be who I want to be. So sometimes, I'll tap into different ways of how to do something. Cause bro, like there's so many different ways to improve that you only know so much here. Like, you need to seek out and talk to people and like read books to expand to then put you in a position. You know what I was thinking about? What would be one thing that you would recommend somebody to do that something that's practical that can help them be a better them?
Physical fitness. By far. I know the United States, we have a crazy amount of overweight and obese people in our nation. And that correlates to a lot of other things. It's hard to be, I'm not saying that that people can't have mental clarity and be happy, being obese, because there's plenty of people who are, but I would say physical fitness. Try at least meditation and physical fitness.
You know how the last episode you were talking about how you would record yourself from time to time?
Yeah.
What would be another version of that you would think would help somebody?
Like, as in the things that I was doing? Mm-hmm. So one of the things I was doing when I was when I was at a point in my life that I knew that it was like a get better or like you're gonna fold. You know what I mean? I would record myself and basically talk to my future self from that point in time. So it's like basically like a time capsule, basically like showing my environment, like where I'm at, what I'm thinking, what's going on at that time. In some of the videos, I was in a relationship, and some of the videos I wasn't. I was living in a dorm. Some of them I was living in an apartment. And I'm getting ready to do one again, and it's like, I think it's been 5 years since I've been doing this. 5 years since I've been doing this, and like going back and looking at it and seeing the growth, because it's hard to like just keep it in your head and try to remember. But when you have it in your phone or you have it in your iCloud or whatever, you go back and look and you're like, damn, that's where I was mentally. Like even how I talk, like I feel like there's growth in that alone. So seeing where I was and seeing where I am now, it's definitely a big difference. It's definitely therapeutic to do it and to get it off your chest, because nobody else can see it. It's like a journal. It's like a vlog. It's like a vlog journal, basically. And you basically talk about like what you're going through, how you feel like you're gonna get through it, what are your goals, where you're gonna get to in the next 6 months to a year, where you want to be, yada yada. And everything I talked about in that first one ended up happening in the second one. Everything I talked about in the second one ended up happening in the third one. And then this one I'm talking about now, I had made one before camp, and I was talking about camp and the season, yada yada, and I was worried about what was going on, whoop whoop. And now I'm getting to where it's like, oh, we're halfway through the season, and now the goals and stuff are changing. Stuff is starting to align, and stuff is kind of at a stalemate right now, but at the same time, it's still on the up and up. So doing these journal vlogs, I feel like one day I'm gonna like actually put it on a YouTube, put it on my account, and like show like my journey and stuff like that, especially when I get to where I want to be. But no, it's definitely one thing that's helped me.
That's so dope too. Damn, I want to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. I think
do it today.
Yeah.
Do one today on your own.
I'm gonna do it.
Set the camera up, and just talk about where you're at right now. Where's your mental state at right now? How do you feel? Where you're at, your apartment, whatever, relationship, everything. I talk about everything I'm going through. And even if you want to have it more personal, say you have to come in here, close the door, set it up, and just talk, it's therapeutic to yourself, because you're talking to your future self. You got to think about it like that. You're talking to your future self. So that video, you have to kind of like lock it and put it into a separate file in your phone. So you just know, like, boom, that's something that's not going to get deleted. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
It's so therapeutic, bro. I highly recommend it.
Damn. I think even I tend to have like these like deja vu moments of remembering of, oh, I remember when you used to struggle with this. I remember when you wanted to be in this position. Now you are. Like, I think about that at work. Like at work, I don't do no labor. I used to always do labor. I used to be like the fastest do this, like thoroughly do like labor work. And now I'm in a position where I don't even lift a finger. Like I lift a finger to point somebody to do something else. Yeah. Like now I was thinking about it today when I was walking to my desk, and I was like, man, I remember you wanted to be in this, like, and now you're just nonchalant, like you're just, I'm used to this, like, nah, like there was a moment when you wanted this, like there was a moment where you were the other person that was getting like delegated to work and do this, like now you're the one delegating to other people, and you're managing this, you're speaking in the meetings, you're like being an influence, you're being different. I mean, what other person wears shoes that says do your best? Like that person has to be overly optimistic for somebody. Imagine that you hate your life and you just hate people optimistic, and then you just look down, you see some asshole wearing do your best shoes. Like, fuck you.
Look at this positive ass nigga.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, and I got a lot of that shit. Some people said do your best.
Get your positive ass out of here.
Yeah, people would mock me, bro. Like, and I'm like, oh, you hating. I said, you hating.
Oh, weak.
So let me put a smile on your face. Let me put a smile on your face. But sometimes you forget too all that growth, man. Like you've got the fact where you are right now, you can definitely say that you've gotten better 6 months ago. Like the person you are now, like when I look at myself a year ago to the person that I am now, there's been like exponential growth. Could I be better in a lot of things? Of course, but like, knowing that I've got this far and like being like, happy and thankful for what I have right now is something that you just have to remind yourself. Like, you made it this far. Like, just keep going now.
Facts. This is definitely a good podcast, bro. I really like this one. I like the topics that we were talking about, and getting into talking about how we process these things, and the foundation of us, like basically like knowing our peace and our purpose, things that keep us level headed, is definitely something that I feel like everybody should address and figure out, like what you want to do. Even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, a career path you want to do, you should find your peace. You shouldn't be a certain way because that's what you're used to with your family. Like, if your family is all negative, toxic, doesn't mean you have to be. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. Like, when you're old enough and conscious enough to develop new habits, and you're like, okay, maybe I don't like being mean and being an asshole to every single person I come in contact with. I actually want to be a good person. I want to be a nice person. I want to be like this, and this. Build those habits. Develop those things. Like, hey, I don't want to be obese because the rest of my family is obese and negative. Let me change that about myself. You can always change your situation based on your actions. You know what I mean? You just got to start. You can't, sit there and mope and be like, I wish things were different. Change it. Make it different.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. We appreciate you guys for tapping in with us on Self Revelations Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Sheesh.